Look, speaking of up there, what about the top end last night? This was the match that everyone's really been looking forward to, and I've got to say, it didn't really disappoint, did it?
It was brilliant, yeah. Obviously, Essendon they put up a bit of a fight. Obviously, couldn't get the ball inside their forward 50 as much as they'd like, but it was all about the Indigenous stars. Shea Bolton, we'll get to him shortly. Marlon Pickett, Rioli, he got involved there, kicked a beautiful goal. And obviously, Sydney Stack was also very, very good. But there is Shea Bolton, and he was the medalist last night. So I'll pronounce it right, the Yayukin medalist last night. So what a season he's had. He was dropped. Heard Kane on his program last night. Kano dropped in round 5, and what a season he's having. Could he be in the All-Australian side?
Not sure it'd be All-Australian, Lordo, but what they did need was someone to step up with the likes of Prester and Edwards out, and we know Cochin's missed some footy as well. So that's where their improvement was going to come from if they stayed in touch with the top 4. So more midfield minutes, getting a lot of the footy and uses it well, and also can score and is deadly going inside 50. So that'd be wrapped. Clearly a pretty popular member of the team also.
No doubt about that. This is the story. The boy from Halls Creek who played his first game for the Bombers last night. Have a listen. That's him. Irving Mosquito is his name. Have a look at this here. He kicked 2 goals. This is his first goal here. Goes back. He's lost some weight, Lordo.
7 kilos, I'm told, in 7 weeks, Bill.
Righto. That's his first goal. How good was that? He's up and about. The best smile in the AFL. But look at this one. Bang!
Yeah, look at that.
Straight through there. Has a bounce and just goes bang for his second, and he lit up the territory last night. Well done to him.
He's a natural left footer, is he?
Yeah. He was buzzing last night.
He certainly was, Billy. He was flying. It was a huge occasion, and Anthony McDonald-Tipperary stepped up to that occasion. Have a look at this courage. This is as courageous as you'll see on a football field. He knows there is some sort of heat coming. He's going back at a rate of knots on that occasion. Well done to Tipperary. AFL players get a fair bit on social media these days, and that was amazing courage. So I hope everybody notices that, Tony.
Oh, I'm sure they do. What's wrong with Woosha?
He's a bit worked up, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he referenced the Tipping Woody incident post-match. There were a couple of incidents that resulted in Richmond goals, and John Worsfold did reference this one against Tipping Woody. He also then had a crack at the media.
Massive impact. You know, at that point, that potentially was going to give us a couple of goal lead, maybe a 3-goal lead, I'm not really sure. And, you know, to have it obviously was something pretty drastic to overturn a kick like that. So, unfortunately, that's the way the umpires called it, and we have to cop that, but it was a pretty critical part of the game. Yeah, look, I've read some comments from people that are pretty well-respected people in the footy industry, and they sound like 6-year-old kids. Like, it's a bit embarrassing to read what some people say, but it's a passionate game. I get that. But we're going to stick the course, and we're going to be a very good team very quickly.
It's a bit to take out of that. We'll just refer specifically to the free kicks that he's referring to there. And I think he had reason to highlight them and bemoan the fact that it happened to the Bombers. The first one was the Dylan Grime ones. Guys, take us through what happened here, because Tipping Woody took that mark and then goal.
I think Kane's going to deliver something very, very soon on that.
I can feel
leave that to Kano. And this was pretty poor by Vlosten. You know, he didn't need to react in this manner. He gets hit there below the shoulder and he flings his head back and the umpire pays a 50 minutes. So we're putting a lot of pressure on our umpires when players are acting the way Grimes and also Vlosten have.
Sorry, just before we get there, what was the criticism in the media? I don't recall there being...
Yeah, I don't either. And look, this sort of continued promise that we are getting better as a footy club. John Worsfold has had 5 years at that club now, and it hasn't been the period that he wanted it to be. Yeah. We know that he's now leaving and Ben Rutten is about to take over. But I didn't get it either, TJ. I didn't think the criticism during the week was anything out of order or out of line with what had happened to this club yet again, basically blowing up a footy season.
Yeah. Kane?
Yeah, I just think it's happening too often. I was going to do a volcano, but you guys have discussed it on this. It just makes it hard for the umpires when you act like this. Now, Grimes was fined $1,000 for doing exactly the same in the finals last year. We've seen Papley do it this year. We've seen Mark Murphy dive this year, so it's definitely crept in the game. The reason players continue to do it is because they're continually rewarded with free kicks. Now, if you stop blowing the free kicks, the players will stop doing it. So over to the umpires, if you think a player has milked it or exaggerated contact, don't pay the free kick and players will stop doing it. It's a pretty easy fix, I would have thought.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a fair take. Just on the Dylan Grimes specifics, social media has gone down its now pathetic, obvious path of targeting him personally. He's referenced it himself today, as is now happening in 2020 with the AFLPA, urging footballers to call this pathetic behaviour out, and he has done that today on the back of the criticism that's been just ridiculously levelled at him over what happened last night.
Do you think he'll get a fine for that?
Look, I don't think it should have been paid, but I don't think it's fine-worthy. Do you?
I think there's a big chance he'll get a fine, but that's if they say it was the wrong decision, and that's where the AFL sometimes probably won't want to come out and say that was a wrong decision, because it was a massive momentum swing in the game. Just on the Bombers, though, they've got their own concerns, the Essendon Footy Club. And I look at this from last night, 66 inside 50s to 24, and you wonder why. Why do Richmond have such a big dominance? It's because there was 10 tackles inside 50 for Richmond, Brownie, none for Essendon. So the ball lives in their defensive half. It's very unfair on Hurley and Sard.
And we're talking about a 12-point margin at the end of the game, and the Nick Vluston 50-metre penalty goal. And people are saying, if Tip and Woody had been allowed that goal, all of a sudden it could be even. But when you look at those results, the scoreline flattered the Bombers last night, and 42 more inside 50s, and I think it just papered up a few cracks for last night, because the Tigers probably should have won that by 10 goals.
Damo, Tom Lynch has obviously been in the news quite a bit lately, but it seems he doesn't have to do too much nowadays to be under scrutiny.
No, that was the incident last night with Michael Hurley. Look, it will be looked at. I don't think it's even fine-worthy but given the incidents he's had with Witherden and Collins leading into that game, and the focus on him from outside people, it will be looked at.
Why
personally,
would they look at it though?
But
they have to look at it.
Didn't Tom Hawkins get a few weeks for that? I know it's like probably not as serious,
there was
but
more of a jumper
I think
punch.
that needs to be looked at, in my opinion.
Okay, so are you saying then with the Witherden and Collins incidents, is that a third strike in that?
Well,
in that way
I know
of
the
looking at it?
rules are if you get a third fine, well then suddenly then you get sent to the tribunal after your third fine. But I think it needs to be looked at. Shoving a player in the throat like that.
Well, can we have another look at that, just to sort of see just how much of the throat region he did actually get? Take us through it, Lauder.
Put him in the beard.
Let's have a look again. I do seriously think that into the throat needs to be looked at, and it would not surprise me if he gets another fine this week.
Michael Hurley's not even looking at the footy, though.
What's that,
Yeah,
Kane?
and I think Brownie as well, it's a good point that Michael Hurley's going for that hand. Like, I think he's got every right to push back off. I didn't think it was high. I thought almost Michael Hurley milked the contact as well, throwing his head back, which makes it look worse. I'd be shocked if you can't do that in football. That's not even a free kick for me. And if Hurley's going to have a crack at his broken hand, well, too bad.
I think you've got to be careful too that defenders are always, if Lynch is trying to push on Michael Hurley, so we've got to be careful saying that he's just punching his broken hand, because I think that goes on a lot where you're trying to get separation when you're full back and full forward.